Good morning and welcome to today's Talking Cafe. I'm Elaine and I'm a community agent in West Mendip. And today, of course, is Remembrance Day, and I've joined you slightly earlier than usual so that we can observe the 2-minute silence at 11 o'clock. So obviously this year, with the advent of coronavirus, it's meant that Remembrance events have had to take place in different ways than usual. But of course, it was wonderful to see the way that things still happened at the Cenotaph on Sunday. Different, but it was still an opportunity to respect and remember the sacrifice of our armed forces, despite the difficult times that we find ourselves in at the moment. So Remembrance honours those who serve and serve to defend our democratic freedoms and way of life, and we unite across faiths, cultures and backgrounds to remember the service and the sacrifice of the armed forces community from Britain and the Commonwealth. We pay tribute to families and the emergency services. And in 2020, of course, we marked VE Day and VJ Day. It was 75 years. We remember them and we reflect on them now. We pay tribute to the men and women of the Second World War and to those of today's who have served and sacrificed to defend our nation. And we remember the collaboration of the Commonwealth and allied nations who stood shoulder to shoulder to secure our freedom, and the communities coming together today to protect us all. In a few moments, at 11 o'clock, we're going to observe the 2-minute silence.
The Poppy Story.
So for today's Talking Cafe, I'm going to talk a little bit about the services and charities that are available for servicemen, both locally and across the UK. And I'm very pleased to have been joined by special guest Sheila Taylor from the Somerset Veterans Liaison Service, who's going to talk a little bit about the work that she does to help servicemen. So Sheila, if you'd like to start, that'd be brilliant.
So, hello everybody. My name is Sheila Taylor. I am Veterans Champion for Mental Health within Somerset Foundation Trust. I've been doing this role for a couple of years now, but it's been kind of very much in the background. But obviously, with the introduction of the Defence Medical Welfare Services now coming to light, it's now come more prominent forward. So I work very closely with the DMWS. They've been around since the Second World War, but have now come out on their own because they used to be part of the MOD. So they have a service called regarding barriers to family life, which is for family members, for existing and serving personnel, reservists. And they have an excellent Defence Medical Welfare Officer by the name of Justine, who is a veterans partner. Her partner has PTSD, a veteran from Northern Ireland, and she has been engaging with me, and we are linking in a great many veterans and serving personnel into services at the moment, or offering support from a family perspective. My role in itself is I am the lead for Somerset Veterans Liaison Service. So I've set up this service within the trust so that we can support veterans to see if any veterans that come through the mental health services perspective can get some support. I can directly link into the CMHT rather than go via GPs. I can offer assessments. My role isn't a full-time role, it's an additional role. So a little bit about me and myself. I'm an Army child. My dad was a veteran. He's a veteran from the Army. So is my uncle, and so is my mum. So I've got a little bit of an idea of what it's like to move around from base to base as a child. I think we settled probably when I was about 8 years old in the Somerset area, but I do recall moving from various areas up until that point. I was born in Germany. My brother was born in Hong Kong, to give you a perspective of where my parents were posted throughout their service. So that's me with my connections regarding veterans. I also had a manager and a admin who are all equally Army children, but also my admin is also married to a veteran at the moment as well. So
lots of connections. Yeah.
Yes, lots of connections. We're all very keen. We're very passionate. We've been trying very hard at the moment to push the veterans kind of support within the trust. There are lots of veterans champions within Musgrove. So we're now, because we've become, rather than we used to be two separate trusts, so we've become one whole trust. So we're now managing to link in with the guys over in Musgrove. We've the Armed Forces champion, Barry Alexander, who's just recently left to go back into the Army. I worked very closely with Barry. We've been, the trust has now been accredited as a veteran aware hospital accreditation. So it means that we kind of like very much championing the needs of veterans. That was something we worked with for about 18 months to achieve. So that was, we were quite proud of that. So we've now got that accreditation, and it's not only for the acute trust, but also for the mental health sector. So what we're trying to do at the moment is very much ensure that anybody that comes into services is recognised as a veteran, that, you know, they're aware of what services are out there for them, what services, you know, what people can do, what links in there are. So yeah, I guess that's very much what we do at the moment. Unfortunately, my role is only kind of 16 hours protected time a month, so I am quite busy, and yeah, it can take me a little time to pick up the referrals. but I'm trying to do that as best I can. I'm kind of doing a lot of work in my own time as well, hence this morning and stuff. So that's what kind of we do really as a whole. What I do really as a whole.
So are you finding that demand is increasing this year?
Hugely so.
I thought that would be the case, with
COVID. A lot of people at the moment, bless them, that I've met quite a few individuals that either don't recognise that they have PTSD or have awareness of it but don't know that it's PTSD. We're getting a lot of people that have coming through the system at the moment, or coming known to contact with regards to Iraq and Iraq-Iran war, with the PTSD that's coming out now. We have a lot of people with coming to the surface with PTSD from Northern Ireland at the moment. And it's also, it's a big thing as well that people don't recognise themselves as veterans. We need to be aware that veterans aren't necessarily Captain Tom age, as much as, you know, they're very deeply respected. We have a lot of young people coming through with young families. I think the youngest, I think Justine and I have been working with, is 24 years old. So just to give you an idea.
It's important to remember that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, because the young kind of veterans in particular don't consider themselves a veteran because of the fact that they're young, and they consider it to be kind of the top Captain Tom and that kind of generation. So it's a, you know, they're not aware of services, they're not aware of what's available to them, they're not aware of the support that's available to them.
And so Carol's just asking me on the chat, what's the best way to contact you, Sheila, if somebody thinks feels they need support? If
somebody needs to contact me, then by all means you can send me an email. I have a NHS Net email, which is quite a kind of long, complicated one, or I've got a mobile number. I should just give that to you. Bear with me a second, because I never know it off by heart. My mobile number is 077 69 163 994. And that's a specific phone number for veterans phone that I have for people to contact me on. By all means, leave a message. I will endeavour to get back as quickly as possible, but it might not be on the day that people call.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that's brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Sheila. No, thank you for joining me this morning. That's brilliant.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Take care.
And you. Bye. So that was great to hear from Sheila about obviously a fantastic service that she's offering to veterans. I'm just going to talk a little bit more now about some of the other charities and services that are available to servicemen. So obviously the one that's probably most famous is the Royal British Legion, of course. It's the largest armed forces charity. It was started in 1921 after the First World War, and it's got 235,000 members, my husband being one of them, and 110,000 volunteers, and a network of partners and charities. And they can provide lifelong support to serving and ex-serving personnel and their families. And actually their support can happen after just one day's service. So I've had various clients in the past that haven't realised that even though they might have had a limited military career, then they can actually access support from the Royal British Legion, and I have found them invaluable for a lot of clients. They also give support to armed forces families, and of course their network means that they can usually find somebody to help in local communities. Obviously we've got lots of branches across Somerset. There's a very active one in Shepton and in Frome, and they have been, as I said, invaluable with supporting people. Of course, every November they run their poppy appeal. I'm trying to keep mine on this morning. And that, of course, raises vital funds to help the armed forces community. Of course, this year, due to the COVID situation, they've had to adapt. They've got lots of the poppy appeal basically has been tricky because obviously we haven't seen the familiar poppy sellers out on the high street, but they have adapted to that and found other ways of doing that with contactless payments. You could buy your poppies in Sainsbury's. You can go online and donate. Sorry, my pugs are behind me, about to start barking. And they can, as I said, they have still continued with their puppy appeal. Apparently the funds are down this year, so they are actually, as I said, online. There's a virtual remembrance garden. You can buy a puppy that you can display in your window, and all of that is on their website. The kind of things that the Royal British Legion can support with are actually really varied. They can help with care and independent living. So thinking possibly more about the older generation there, but they can give you guidance and advice to the kind of services that you might need. They can provide support for carers. That used to be, or was pre-COVID, done by home visits. But at the moment, they are offering telephone advice and support, which I'll give you the number in a moment. They can also help with adapting your home. So home adaptations, personal alarms, support with funding for any equipment that people might need. They can help with things like stair lifts, mobility scooters, and ramps perhaps being put in, stairwells, doors being widened, bathroom and kitchen adaptations. And if you want to contact the Royal British Legion about any of those services, then you can phone 0808 802 8080 or email ilasupport@britishlegion.org.uk, and they'll put you in touch with an advisor who can help you. The Royal British Legion also has care homes. They've got 6 across the country for the armed forces community and their families. 5 of those offer specialist dementia care, and they're designed to be a home from home for their residents and visitors. They also have a network of Admiral nurses for dementia, and they work in partnership with Dementia UK to provide Admiral nurses which help the armed forces and community and their families that are living with dementia, that might be living with dementia. Again, they've unfortunately stopped home visits at the moment, but they are there to support you. And again, they can be contacted on the number I said previously, so 0808 802 8080. And the Royal British Legion phone lines are open 7 days a week from 8 till 8. And obviously thinking of this year, of course, with Captain Tom, as Sheila mentioned earlier, it's great to see that obviously this year we saw him wonderful when he was 99, doing the 100 lengths of his garden and raising millions for the NHS when he expected to only obviously raise £1,000. He has actually recently started a foundation called the Captain Tom Foundation, and he's realised obviously the impact of COVID on the Legion's funds this year. So they are one of 4 charities that he's selected to support with his foundation. So he's got the Royal British Legion and Mind and 2 hospices that he's supporting with that. And he is actually, there's this wonderful painting of him on the recent British Legion magazine, which is fantastic. The next charity to talk a little bit about is SSAFA. They were formerly known as the Soldiers, Sailors, Airmen and Families Association. They were founded in 1885, and they're a charity whose work helps tens of thousands of adults and children all over the world. Now, they can provide lifelong support to those who are serving or have served in the British Army, the Royal Navy, the Royal Marines or the Royal Air Force and their families. And they've got a very good understanding of obviously of service life. As Sheila was talking about earlier, obviously there can be if you're on UK soil or living overseas. Support is available for anyone at any stage of their military career, from the youngest recruit to the oldest veteran. So nobody's service is forgotten. They've got 5,000 volunteers who provide personalised support to people in their local communities. Again, obviously at the moment with the impact of COVID, that's mainly on by phone at the moment, but they have trained welfare advisors and they can help with people with funding for things that they might need. They can signpost people to other charities which they think might be beneficial to them. It can be anything from debt to addiction to mental health problems that they can support with. And they've actually found recently that their service users in particular between 25 and 64, need more specialised support, and they obviously face complex challenges from low income to possibly life-changing injuries or hidden wounds like perhaps depression or post-traumatic stress disorder, as Sheila was talking about just now. And obviously the COVID pandemic has added to these stresses. They work in partnership with other military charities and organisations, and they ensure that those that turn to them can get the help and support they need. They also run a service called Forces Line, which is there to listen and not judge. They can give you useful information and signpost ways to help you. It's free and it's a confidential helpline, and it's outside of the military chain of command. They will listen, they will not judge, and your privacy is absolute. You can talk to a Forces Line advisor. You can either talk to them online at the SSAFA website, which is SSAFA, that's SSAFA.org.uk, or you can phone 0800 731 4880, and they're open from 9 till 5:30 Monday to Friday, and their website is safa.org.uk. And there's a Somerset branch. Their contact number is 020 8938 3633. So that's 020, which does sound like a London number, but it must take you to the Somerset branch. So 020 8938 3633. Or you can email Somerset, that's with a capital S, .branch@SSAFA, so SSAFA.org.uk. So they've been very valuable service as well. And they do actually have a hotel in Weston that we were lucky enough to visit last year. And the next charity I was to talk a little bit about is Help for Heroes. Again, Help for Heroes, more recently founded charity. It was started by Bryn and Emma Parry, and it was to provide lifetime support to those wounded in the line of service for their country. So no matter when somebody served, they believe that people that were prepared to put their lives second, they deserve a second chance. So they try to help people reach their full potential and have a positive impact on society. They can support wounded veterans and anybody who's suffered injuries or illness during or as a result of their service, and anything that impacts on their daily life. And it also supports their family and dependents. They also have a psychological service which helps people that might have issues such as emotional issues such as anxiety or anger or low mood, alcohol use, and any mental health problems which adversely affect people's quality of life. They work closely with other military and mental health organisations such as Combat Stress, and they also ensure that all individuals seeking treatment get the help they need. And it's provided, and the psychological support is provided by the Ministry of Defence. There's an online form on helpforheroes.org.uk for anybody who would like to refer themselves to their service. And they've also got a Southwest support hub, which you can reach on 01752 562 179. So that's 01752 562 179. Or their email address for the Southwest branch is west.hub@helpforheroes.org.uk. So that's west.hub@helpforheroes.org.uk. And they can offer welfare support, so they can offer guidance and advice on issues such as money, health, housing, and respite. They can offer grants, so financial support to those who've suffered a life-changing injury or illness while serving in the British Armed Forces, as well as their family members. They can offer psychological well-being, so offering help to anybody struggling with their mental health by offering free and confidential support. And they have a Veterans Clinical Liaison Service, which is part of what Sheila was part of, that can help veterans identify the best possible treatments. Another charity is Combat Stress, which again is another leading charity for veterans' mental health. And they help former servicemen and women deal with issues like post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and depression. They provide specialist treatments and they support veterans from every service and conflict, focus on those with complex mental health issues. They've got a 24-hour helpline, which is 0800 138 1619. So that's 0800 138 1619. And that is, again, is a confidential service available to veterans and their families. And if you take a look at their website, which is combatstress.org.uk, it's packed with information, and it's also got some really good resources, particularly self-help strategies for dealing with mental health issues during the COVID crisis at the moment. As I said, we've also mentioned the Veterans Liaison Service. So there really is a huge amount of help and support out there for servicemen and ex-servicemen who we owe so much to. Okay. So I thought I'd just end today, think about Remembrance Day or Armistice Day, with a poem. Okay. So obviously it's a day when we wear our poppies with pride, and the poppy is a symbol of remembrance and a hope for a positive future and a peaceful world, which we need at the moment. So they're a show of support for our armed forces community and those currently serving, and a symbol of remembrance for all those that have fallen in conflict. So this is a very famous poem, which I'm sure most people will know. In Flanders Field, after he saw poppies growing, it was written by Colonel John McCrae, after he saw the poppies growing in battle-scarred fields. So in Flanders Field, the poppies blow. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If you break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Field. Thank you for joining me today. Bye.